First, I'm going to cut my sleeves off so that I can just get them out of the way. I'm a little nervous because I've never cut cashmere before. This is such a beautiful sweater, but I'm going to cut one layer at a time, and we're going to deal with the sleeves later. It's an iron-on interfacing, and I'm going to cut this into strips and iron it to the back side of my sweater in the places I'm going to cut so that my sweater retains its shape. I've sewn in a zigzag stitch on my machine in between these two pieces to make them look like one, and I actually really like the way it turned out. On zigzag stitch, I've matched the stitch. It's a little bit wider because my stripe is a little bit wider than the machine zigzag stitch. And if you don't have a stripe in your sweater and you're just using a plain sweater, which might be a good place to start, then you won't really need to worry about this. The normal setting is on the zigzag stitch, but I want it more like a satin stitch. And I have a walking foot, and this special foot is going to help my machine go over my sweater in a more smooth fashion where it won't bunch or stretch my sweater. And then I have a jersey knit needle. Cut two pieces of fabric. I'm going to pin right sides together. I'm going to sew with a straight stitch along this line. Sewn my pieces together. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. And now I'm just going to trim up the edges so that it's the same exact width. I've cut 2 more pieces of fabric that I'm going to add to the outside tie neck piece, and we're going to pin it right sides together and sew. Find the middle spot on each tie neck piece. So I'm folding it in half, pinning, folding it in half, finding the exact middle, pinning. And now I know where to match up my 2 scarf pieces, and I'm going to match up the middle spot with right sides together, and I'm only going to sew along one side. This is my sewing line, and I really don't want that showing in the front, so I'm going to put this one hanging down a bit so it will be inside the knot here, and this one will be right along the back. I'm going to finish off the end, so I'm going to turn it back to right sides together, I'm going to pin. Pin my scarf piece around the neck and finish the neck. So this is the longer end that I finished. I sewed up to here, and this is the shorter end. Sides together, many pins to match the scarf with the neck hole, and then when I come around, I want to leave a width on the neck hole open that's about the same width as my scarf, and that will be so that we have room to tie it, and we will finish off this little bit on its own, and I'll show you that. Yes, but before we go over to the ironing board again, I'm going to do that same stitch along the raw edge that's left of my scarf part that's open, and we're going to use that same kind of finishing stitch. If you have what's sort of like a serger stitch on your machine, then use that, and if you don't, you can use a zigzag stitch. Where we've left an opening to tie the scarf, we need to finish that edge off as well with a serger-like stitch. The neck looks fantastic. However, we're not finished with it, but I'm going to leave it unfinished until the very last step because I'm going to have to hand sew and finish the side seams. Turn it inside out so that right sides are facing together. Pin the side seams. Here to the end, I'm going to rip it out on both sides. So if you're watching this, hopefully you haven't made that same mistake. Make a little dot about this far away from the edge for your armhole, where the armhole meets the side seam. trying it on, and I realized that I really don't like the way it drapes here, and so it's back to the drawing board. I'm going to set my sleeves in my garment. So we turn this inside out, and we're going to put the sleeve inside. Now I have to remember which side it was on. Okay, so this sleeve goes on the opposite side of where the tie is, and this way they are right sides together. I'm going to match and pin. So I'm going to match the bottom. Yeah, baby, hang on just one second. I'm going to match the bottom seam to and the top seam. And then I'm going to ease my sleeve in between by pinning. I've done a lot of pinning because you kind of have to ease the sleeve in. I did not stabilize this side with anything because I think it's going to be okay with one layer on the other side of the knit interfacing. For now, I'm going to leave my bottom edge raw, and that way I can leave it out or I can tuck it in. It will not come unraveled. This is like a t-shirt kind of knit. I do not want the stitching to show even when I have it on. So what I'm going to do is just fold it under a smidge, and I'm going to sew it by hand, the needle and thread to this seam inside, and that way it won't show, and I will have a beautiful garment when I'm done.